I'm Jeff Fredrick of Champions Choice Calls, 20-year call builder, and I want to talk to you today about how a mouth call works. So when you get your mouth call, you'll get it in a little plastic case, and usually it'll be in a bag, whether you buy my mouth call or anyone else's. Don't store it in the little plastic bag that it comes in. Throw that away after you take the call out. The first thing you have to do is understand what's top and bottom and what's front and back. The front of the call is the part where it's the open part of the horseshoe. It's the part that has the reeds showing. The back of the call is the tape. That's what seals the air from going over the top of the call. So when you look at your reeds, the cut reed, the reed with cuts in it, that's your top reed, and your shorter reeds are the bottom. And on the bottom of the call, you'll always see this tab that is underneath the tape that's bent over, that's holding the call together. So, front, back, top, bottom. One thing I want to stress is you do not want to bend the aluminum frame. Inside of your call there's an aluminum frame that holds the latex, all the reeds. If you bend that, you're changing the stretch that I put on the reeds. You want to learn to be able to hold the call in your mouth and use it without bending the reeds. If you find that you have a narrow palate and it's not fitting in the roof of your mouth, I would recommend using a youth frame call that has a much narrower aluminum frame. Okay, so you want to place the call in your mouth, on your tongue, horseshoe out, so the reeds out. Now what I recommend for beginning callers is spend some time with that call just on the edge of your lips. So if you're watching TV one night, just put that call in your mouth and hold on to it there with your teeth, and that's it for that night. Just do that so you get comfortable with it. And then the next night, put the call in a little farther and just hold it on your tongue. What that's going to do is that's going to allow yourself to get used to that thing being in your mouth. Because again, call placement, where the call is sitting in your mouth, is one of the most important aspects in learning how to use a mouth call. Too many people who are trying to shortcut the process put the call in their mouth, have a little bit of a gag response, and end up using the call real far forward in their mouth. So if this is your tongue, the call is sitting right behind your teeth, and what ends up happening is the end of your tongue is close to those reeds. Two things that happen is the reeds vibrating will tickle your tongue and make a gag even worse. Also what can happen is when you're using the call like that and you're kind of pinching the air in between the end of your tongue and the reeds, you end up with very un-turkey-like sounds. They're kind of screechy and it's hard to control the call. To be a good turkey caller, you want note-to-note consistency. Now when you're sitting there with that call in your mouth and you're on the second or third day, and again, this is for beginning callers, try pushing the call into the roof of your mouth with your tongue. And when you're doing that, now when most people start, they're going to push the call into the roof of their mouth and their tongue is going to be curved and they're going to feel that latex. What I want you to do is to push the call into the roof of your mouth and concentrate on pressing on the hard frame part and not feeling the latex part. What that's doing is it's training you to hold your tongue flatter. Another trick to holding your tongue flatter is instead of calling and using the call with your mouth more O-shaped, try using the call with your mouth in more of a smile, like this. If you smile, you'll notice that your tongue is flatter, and if you pucker your lips up a little bit, you'll notice that your tongue is actually kind of ridged up in the middle. That isn't a good way to run a mouth call. The flatter your tongue is, the better. Another good tip for learning how to place the call properly is to say the letter K. So if you say K, notice where the back of your tongue hits the roof of your mouth. Where the back of your tongue hits the roof of your mouth when you say the letter K, right there on the call is where you want that contact of the letter K. K, K, K. And you'll also notice when you say the letter K that the front of your tongue is down and not up. Callers who use a mouth call more in the front of their mouth, who are using their tongue to manipulate the reeds, have a much harder time getting note-to-note consistency and less latexy sounds. When you get the call farther back, you're controlling the call, you're controlling the air that's going across the reeds behind the reeds. If you're trying to control the air in front of the reeds, it's a lot harder to get that note-to-note consistency. If you look at how some of the best mouth callers are using their call, you'll notice that they are not manipulating the sounds in front of the reeds. They're doing more of the manipulation of the air behind the call. So ultimately, you want to make sure that the call is a little farther back in your mouth, which is why it's so important to get over the gag response if you're a new caller. If you're an experienced caller and you notice you're running the call a little far forward in the mouth and you're struggling with it, work on getting that call back a little bit. Get it back farther in your mouth so it's sitting level. K, 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 sitting level on your tongue.